Okay, last month it was official 10 years, right?
Correct. So, well, December 7th.
Yeah,
this
this
is
is-
February, so.
That's right, I keep forgetting today's February
I did that
1st.
today too, a couple times.
Hey, at least they didn't write 2013 on anything.
Exactly.
So you're in your 11th year. How did the gallery actually start, or like when did you take it over, or?
Yeah, we bought an existing business. It was started by Robert Porter back in 1990 as Connections.
Okay.
So when we bought it in late 2003, we kept the same concept. It's a local regional contemporary art gallery. All I really did was arrange the space differently.
Okay. Now, why did you want to buy an art gallery?
I have a background in art. I'm a BFA from College School of Art at University in painting, and I started at the art gallery when I was in college, which was a co-op. And I would say I wanted to start an art gallery. It was something that was offered up to us as an option. He was looking to sell, excuse me, because he was getting older, and he wanted to keep this. He felt very strongly this type of business, specifically a local regional contemporary art gallery, was a benefit to the community, and wanted to make sure that it carried on.
Okay.
And we were the people he talked to about it.
Now, how hard was now? Even though it existed with even with new owners, there's like some people are always like hesitant. Okay, how's it going? We have new owners. What's going to change, etc. Was it difficult, like when you first, after you took it over, when you first started out to, or did you? Or was it pretty much the established crowd that was here? I mean, there's always challenges no matter what you do.
Yeah, all things would change, and there was change. That we didn't take all the same artists that Robert was using. We honed in on a select few, and we built off of that with some other artists. And then we took his core audience and built off of that as well.
Okay.
That's the essence of why we bought the existing business. It's a lot harder to build an audience from scratch. And Connections at that point in time had a stellar reputation in the community as a place that helped local artists get their name out there.
Okay. Now, how has it evolved over the years?
Well,
I mean, everything changed. Natural course of over time, everything changes and evolves. So, how has it evolved since you took it over?
we've added more product here, more jewelry, more pottery. I mean, our primary business is still painting, but we did add other things that Robin didn't recently have much of. We downsized the antiques that he had a lot more antiques, things like that. We were working with a dealer, but they went out of business, so I just have a few pieces left. Beyond that, we added music as a regular activity that brings people here. We do artist talks, book signings. I have a writing workshop that starts tomorrow. Goes on for 8 weeks every Sunday. We're organizing, that's what I was doing, came in on the phone. I was organizing a modeling marathon on the 22nd for a fundraiser for VAST, which fights human sex trafficking in Lehigh Valley. We also started using the garden a lot more. I don't know, you can't tell inside, obviously, but there's a fairly large outdoor space to the building.
Yeah, I've been back there. It is, in the warm weather, it is beautiful.
So we utilize that a lot more, and we're thinking about how to utilize that even more. So, and then we do some things here that are not our particular activities, but other people want to use the space. We've done weddings, birthday parties.
Drink and draw?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you for reminding me. We do a drink and draw session here twice a month.
Okay, now that one is geared for pretty much adults only because it is nude models, correct?
Yeah, it's a professional session with a nude model, sure. It's not a class, but it's a session. So,
right.
If you're going to come here, you're going to be under 18. You're going to need to make sure your mother and father know about it. They've talked to me about it, but we don't really have that issue at this point in time.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure people know
and
about
also,
that.
if there's drinking involved, I'm pretty keen on how old people are.
Right.
And I keep an eye on that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, because I know that I have been to some of the drawing sessions where it's more open to all ages, but this one is more.
Because it's new, yeah.
Yeah. So now I was here for that. Every time I come here, you guys pack the place for an
I
opening.
appreciate it, thank you.
Especially with that 10-year anniversary. You could not move in here for the 10-year anniversary. Now, one thing I've noticed about the Lehigh Valley since I started covering it with my blog, art is all over the place in here. It's like, what do you think as far as, not only the galleries in Lehigh Valley, but like you could walk into a bar and see local artists. Is that a good statement about the Lehigh Valley, about the area?
Yes and no. I mean, yes, it is in the sense that we value art enough to put it places. No, in the sense that it's difficult for the market to sustain places like this. You know?
Right.
So a lot of times you'll see art put in non-traditional art spaces, a place that's like a bar or a coffee shop or something. They don't put art on the wall and have shows, and that's also more is better than less, no doubt. But it's not a full-on art gallery.
Yeah, I can think of two optical places, one in Allentown and one in Bethlehem, that have art exhibit openings.
Sure. Fox Optical, then Blink.
Yeah, Blink up on 19th.
Yeah.
They used to do it. Jack Callahan's out on around 21st and Tillman. It's an ale house, a bar.
Oh, right.
Yeah, last year they had a couple art exhibit openings there also. So I've taken, like I said, one thing I've taken notice about the area is number one, it has, the museums are a necessity no matter where you live. But the art galleries are the best part of the area, honestly.
Well, traditionally speaking, after the patron system fell apart in it's probably the 1700s, the private art galleries are where you started to find the intrinsic creativity within a community. When you have institutions that are the primary purpose of displaying work, you end up with a bit of a top-down approach. Because they're gonna decide. We're here. I mean, yeah, I guess I'm the cipher here. I decide as the curator, but I'm really a light-handed curator. I don't tell me what to make. So yeah, I still believe that art galleries are very important to a community. If you have a real art gallery in your community, it says a lot about what's going on in your community.
Yeah, and also like with the art exhibit openings there's a lot more at a local art gallery exhibit openings throughout the year, and you have a better chance to meet the artists themselves and ask them questions versus like at a high-end museum. Am I correct?
Well, I wouldn't know if I would say that specifically. I don't know.
At least that's been my experience.
That could be people's experiences. I don't know the calendar for the art museum.
Right.
What do they call themselves now? Lehigh Valley. Allentown Art Museum. Lehigh
Yeah,
Valley.
Allentown Art. And then I noticed there's one up here, Siegel.
Yeah, the Siegel Museum is our local county museum.
Okay.
And I don't know how many shows they all have. I think it's 6 at the Siegel per year.
I think Allentown might be about 4.
Yeah, the Siegel's a smaller concept, so you can definitely rub elbows with the artists. They aren't as ingrained in the arts community like we are, because we are specifically an art gallery, so they don't get the same crowd like we would. Like, I'd be shocked if they got 200 people out of an opening like we do, but more power to them.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, I think that accentuates the scene that's specific to Easton. You know, we all have our own scenes, Easton, downtown Bethlehem, we all have our own scenes. So Easton scene is, at least my take on it, is that it's much more authentic and DIY, because it's a bottom-up approach as opposed to, like I was talking about before, institutional approach, which can become insular or narrow focused to the point where certain works aren't necessarily deemed viable. So back to what I was saying about more galleries, like that's why I need more galleries. I only have so much wall space.
Right.
And I have a business model I have to tend to. There's no way I can just switch the model because I decided to. That's a terrible risk, and I probably got a business pretty rapidly. So it limits my ability to show all the art I want to show. Well, you know, more galleries would be able to show more art.
I have an online magazine. There's only so much I can do.
Well,
there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, I publish as well. And if everybody wants to publish a story about that, you know, all the artists want their art in a gallery. I get that. I'm stuck with the box I have. So I would hope that somewhere, sometime down the road, people will start opening galleries which show the artists that either I can't show because I can't sell their work here because my audience is looking for a specific type of work, or they know people I just don't even know. You know what I'm saying? They would bring more art to the surface.
Yeah, so two things this area has, or the Lehigh Valley, ever since I was a kid, has been known for is the art and the music. You know, I know at one point the art really went underground, and outside of like the museums, you really didn't know too much about it, but it has really resurfaced in the past several years, and is starting to become more and more known outside of the area.
Well, that's the hope, sure. Because I think as this region grows, you'll see probably moving forward into the future, 20, 30 years, we're going to keep seeing an exodus from the east of people from New York City, northern New Jersey, because those price points are pushing them.
Even Philadelphia.
Yeah, to Allentown specifically, more
Yeah.
so than Easton, but that's going to impact the local communities in some regard. So you would hope that more people, more sophistication brings more art, brings that stuff to the surface. Like when I was a kid around here, it was a little more podunk. It wasn't like the mean and jocular fashion on it.
Yeah, I know.
Fashion. It's just people weren't as into art, and it wasn't until I started hearing about Carl Sterner, Stone Duca, Vera Bergstein, and a whole slew of those people that I started to realize that there was some authentic art being made in the area. Before that, I was like, well, I'll have to go to Philly or New York. And I went to Philly for school, but I didn't stay there because to me, the scene in Philly wasn't any better than the scene in Easton.
Right. Well, I know right before I left in 2002, and it was like from the late 90s to 2002, the art scene was dead here. Like I said, from what I remember, it was like there really weren't too many galleries. There really wasn't. It was basically the art museum was the biggest known thing in the area.
What about Allentown?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Allentown for the longest time had open space gallery, which was their authentic, real space, and it was a volunteer co-op of some sort. I don't know the structure, so I don't want to speak out of hand. But when that closed, they lost their voice, and the institutions filled the void. And I'm not besmirching Allentown Art Museum at all. It's
Yeah, no, I'm not cutting it down. It's,
without the other art galleries to hold up the local scene,
right.
it doesn't get into the local scene. You know what I'm saying? And there aren't really art galleries in Allentown that I can remember. I mean, there's alternative art gallery. They're starting something. It's real finally. They have an odd space in the lobby, and Diane and Teddy have been doing a thing at the
Artworks.
She's doing
It's
something else now.
Art Burrito Coffee Works.
Yeah, I think
Expression Studio actually took that over now.
Yeah, I think Ursula Bulik was doing some things, and obviously there was Soft Machine at one point in time. So, getting a gallery to stay open is not a simple task.
Yeah.
You're selling a luxury good in one of the worst economies in 100 years.
Yeah.
So,
And the price point for a lot of the art is a higher.
yeah, you have to though.
Yeah.
You have to have a variation of it all. Like we have stuff as low as, looking around, I can't. People tell me it was most of the expensive pieces probably the one in the back room at one of the shows. Well, in that show with Zach sells pieces $90 on the wall. I mean, that's a piece of art.
Yeah.
I have things that are less expensive than that, like jewelry and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen stuff for like $4,000 or $5,000 in local galleries, and
Sure,
it's
that's
like,
a $12,000 piece right there.
yeah,
So we do have things that are more substantial because you need to, if I sell one high price piece, that could make my quarter.
right.
But you have to have enough otherwise to fill in the gaps.
Yeah, it's basically you take both approaches to business, where you can either sell very few at a higher price, or you can sell a large quantity at a lower price. So it's basically a combination of both, correct?
You try to do that, yeah. I mean, the trick too is to make sure what you're showing it's an issue of valuation, and everything next to each other. One doesn't diminish the other. Because if you put something that's expensive on the wall just because it's expensive, it could. I'm sorry. What are you doing?
Saying hi.
Did you give me some love? We're gonna interrupt.